Dodgers, teammate of Sandy Koufax, and all the way over my teammate in the NBC broadcasting booth all year long, ex-New York Yankee shortstop Tony Kubek. And Pee Wee, before Sandy left yesterday, the very last words he said were, "I'm not picking the Cardinals, I'm not picking the Red Sox, I am picking Bob Gibson."
Well, Jimmy couldn't have been more right, because Bob Gibson completely dominated the Red Sox yesterday. He struck out 10 of them, and he shackled a fellow named Yastrzemski, which was very important. When you stop Yastrzemski, you've stopped the Red Sox ball club. And they have a fellow going today by the name of Dick Hughes. It's going to be a little tough, too. He throws just about as hard as Gibson.
Tony, you're an American leaguer. The Red Sox dead? One game does not a series make, right? What do you think?
Well, they're not dead by any means, Jim. And, of course, Pee Wee and I, and you, of course, too, saw in yesterday's ball game, or after the ball game, the Red Sox went out and took hitting practice.
What is that
unheard of, Pee Wee.
I mean, is that good or is that bad?
It means that they didn't go in the clubhouse and die. You know, another club in a crucial game, as the first game of the World Series or any ball game, could have gone in and been depressed. They went out, took hitting practice, feel they still got a long way to go.
Well, we got to look back, we got to look ahead, and we'll do both in a moment. We'll return with more of the World Series report right after this message.
You know, fire...
Not a series make, and yet Carl Yastrzemski has been the scourge of the American League pitching all year long. He won the batting title, he won the RBI title, he shared the home run title, but Bob Gibson had him yesterday.
Well, I think because of that, Jim, and Yastrzemski has said this too, and we have talked about it, I don't think there's anyone in the American League that throws as hard as Bob Gibson. I mean, for 9 innings, this fellow can powder that ball for 9 innings. And we'll see after a while exactly how Bob Gibson pitched Yastrzemski.
How did he pitch to Yastrzemski? What did he do? What was he trying to do?
Well, I don't know. I think his pattern of pitching yesterday was he started with the fastball, and he has a dandy. And then about the 6th or 7th inning, he started throwing the curveball, changing the speeds. Now, he throws a curveball to Yastrzemski here.
You can see by that shot right there, Jim, the surprise on Yastrzemski's face, the first pitch from Gibson that he has ever seen. And when a hitter gets up to the plate and you see him jerk the way Carl did, he got something a little unexpected.
In other words, the Red Sox manager, Dick Williams, has told him to look for one thing, and Gibson's given another, is what you're saying.
Right, and now he's got a 2-0 count, and the big hitter, Yastrzemski, of course, as any big hitter, Pee Wee, and I think you'll agree, he's been able to pick his pitch all year long. He's looking for that fastball, preferably on the inside part of the plate. And we'll see in a moment, he gets his pitch inside, looking to pull it. He's still behind it. Gibson still threw the ball by him.
Are you saying that so goes Yastrzemski with the bat, so go the Red Sox? Is that a fair statement, Pee Wee?
I believe I hinted at that, Jim. You know, this fellow in the last 2 games against the Minnesota Twins, he just completely dominated the Twins. He got something like 7 hits. I know he got 4 for 4 that last Sunday. So if you can stop Yastrzemski, you've done quite a job at this.
Well, they stopped him, but now the Cardinals did exactly what everybody thought they were going to do. Lou Brock, who had 4 hits and was walked the 5th time at bat, does have speed. We talked about his speed yesterday. The Red Sox certainly knew about his speed, Tony, and yet the first time he got on base, zip, away he went.
Well, Jim, it's no secret that to stop the Cardinals' running attack, you've got to keep them off the bases, and they didn't do that with Brock yesterday. He looks like he's got a hot bat, and of course, with his speed, he's the type of guy that can turn a series right around.
Looks like he could have been out there, too.
You're talking like a former infielder. That's what you're talking. How do you keep a guy like Brock on? Now, you know he's fast. He stole 2 bases yesterday. He was on base when a balk was committed, which was not exactly his fault. But how do you slow it down?
Well, I don't know. That's up to the pitcher to tell you the truth. But I know one thing. They better keep him off of those sacks, Jim, because not only does he steal, but he upsets the pitcher, because he always has to worry about this fellow at first base.
Now,
he's watching him. Then you get him on second base, the shortstop is moving in. The second baseman is moving in. And, Tony, you know that. Whenever you have to keep worrying about this, it takes a little bit away from your game.
Well, that ground ball, not to interrupt, but that ground ball that they just saw was hit to the right side. It's an infield grounder, right? And yet Brock, zip, he's right over to third base again.
Plus the fact that you've got Curt Flood, a .330 hitter hitting in that second spot, and Pee Wee knows how tough that is, how many times you have to give yourself up. And yet Brock with 2 strikes, or rather Flood with 2 strikes, still protected the plate, hit the ball behind his base runner to get him into third base. A big play, and a play that shows the experience of the Cardinals.
Well, there you saw a dare. Now, there's another infield grounder, Pee Wee. To the infield, Brock's on third base this time, and Roger, with 2 infield outs, drove in both runs.
And I think that Adair would have had a shot at most runners at third base, but there again, Brock, with his tremendous speed, didn't even make it close.
What do you think about the Cardinals? Was yesterday strictly Bob Gibson, or was it Bob Gibson? We can't go on forever, but an opinion. Was it strictly Bob Gibson, or was it Bob Gibson and that Cardinal speed? Tony?
Well, I think there's no doubt that the Cardinals threw no surprises at anybody, including the Red Sox. They showed the fine pitching of Gibson, the great fastball. They showed the speed. But the Red Sox, of course, aren't dead, Pee Wee. You've been in the World Series, and I've been in them, and there's a long way to go yet.
Well, we've got to talk about today in a moment, which we will in a moment. More of the World Series report right after this message.
Ready? Yeah. Okay. It's them.
It's us.
Hello.
There. Don't tell me. To start with, shrimp cocktail.
How did he know that?
And for the main event, beef stroganoff.
They're wonderful.
And of course, the Schlitz.
The Schlitz? The Schlitz.
The Schlitz.
Oh.
There's just one Schlitz. Yeah, nothing else comes near when you're out of Schlitz.
Embarrassing.
And as we said, he completely shackled Carl Yastrzemski, who took the batting practice. But, Tony, without Yastrzemski in the field yesterday, well, where would the Red Sox be?
Well, that's right, and of course, this is something that Carl's done all year long, Pee Wee, and you saw him in the big series up here. He made the big plays defensively, not only got the big hit, but he's just been that way all year long. And here you can see the fine throw and the way he charged this ground ball like an old shortstop, getting rid of the ball very quickly to get the very fleet-footed Javier.
That's a difficult thing to do, and here's another great catch coming up. He was just magnificent in the field. And talking about Yastrzemski, that's no surprise. But if there be a surprise, and I didn't see any World Series scouting reports really, Pee Wee, Mike Shannon, who came in from the outfield, he caught a little bit. He's a third baseman this year. I thought that perhaps people would bunt on him. And yet the only play that he really had at third base yesterday, Shannon came through like he'd been there all his life.
He made it great, and they say that he plays third base a little bit like Pepper Martin, the great third baseman, that played the ball off his chest quite a bit. But you can take a look at him right here. Makes a great player. Now, maybe he didn't know he had the ball, to tell you the truth.
But he made a great play. Tony, did you think they would test Shannon at third more?
Well, I thought they would. The Red Sox aren't a team that have a whole lot of speed. They're not the bunting-type team, I don't think, Pee Wee.
They're not, no.
But they've got some guys that can run, and I thought they might test them a little bit more. In fact, another thing I thought they might test was Curt Flood's arm in the outfield. It's still uncertain whether he can throw or not.
Now, that was yesterday. The Cardinals won it 2-1. Now we come to today. It is Lonborg against Dick Hughes. Tony, you batted against Lonborg, did you not?
Yes, I did. He's a good sinker ball pitcher. Has to keep the ball down, especially in this ballpark, Pee Wee. I think you'll agree. Good sinker, good hard slider, sidearm curveball. And I've got to go along with their ace. I've got to go along with Lonborg the same way as you had to go along with Gibson yesterday.
But is he the same kind of pitcher that can overpower a ball club as Bob Gibson, so obvious to even the average baseball fan, did to the Red Sox yesterday? Can Lonborg do that?
I saw Lonborg pitch 2 or 3 times this year, and as Tony said, he's a low ball pitcher. He's got a real good fast slider, and his ball sinks. But if he doesn't keep the ball down, he's in trouble. No, I don't believe he can overpower a ball club like Bob Gibson.
But if we're watching on television today, as many people will be doing, if we see that ball stand high, Lonborg's in trouble.
I think
Right.
so.
Now, what about Dick Hughes? We both said that we've all said that he throws something like Gibson. I don't think there are many pitchers like Gibson, but at least he throws hard. Now, what do you think about it, Tony? You've been on many clubs, so has Pee Wee. He's a young guy. He's never been in a World Series before, but here he is. Of course, he's got one game in his favor. He's leading 1-0.
Well, that's right. He's going into this ball game, Pee Wee, I think you'll agree, with a different attitude than if Gibson had lost that first ball game. I'm sure he's riding pretty high, and he knows his style of pitching is similar to Gibson, and he saw Gibson throw it by him. I think he's going to try to do the same thing today.
Before I ask you your definite opinions, which I will in a moment, but in a word, what do you think? Do you think if the Red Sox should lose today, it's all over?
Well, I'm a National League man. Jim, I think if they lost today, I think they're dead, because the Cardinals are going back to St. Louis.
Is it that big a must, Tony?
It's not a must, Jim. I've seen, 3-1 down in the World Series in 1958 against the Milwaukee Braves, a Yankee ball club that came back and beat them 3 straight.
Well, I'm going to ask you your definite opinions in just a moment. We'll be back with more of the World Series report right after this message. It's the Red Sox take the field here in Boston. What do you really think?
Well, I'm going to go along with Jim Lonborg. He's going to win the Cy Young Award, it looks like. He's a good pitcher, and I just have to go along with Lonborg the way Koufax did with Gibson yesterday.
How about you, Pee Wee? What do you think?
I'm not going along with Tony. I'm going along with Dick Hughes because I think he pitches a whole lot like Bob Gibson. He's just about that far in back of Gibson with the fastball. He pitches real fast. I have to go with
All right, what do you think? 4-game series, 5-game series, 6-game series. I know I'm putting you on the spot. Tony, what do you think?
Well, I think it's going to be a 6-game series,
And
Jim.
who?
I think the Red Sox are going to turn it around starting today.
What do you think?
National Leaguer. What do you say, 5
5
games? Going to end it in St. Louis.
All right. Pee Wee Reese, Tony Kubek, thank you very much. And Sandy Koufax will be with us in St. Louis on Saturday. Jim Simpson in Boston. And now stay tuned following station identification for the second game of the 1967 World Series.
Sports presents the 1967 World Series. The St. Louis Cardinals versus the Boston Red Sox. Brought to you by Chrysler Corporation. Super stainless steel blade, the spoiler. By the new Super King Size Salem to refresh your taste. Welcome again to Fenway Park in Boston for the second game of the 1967 World Series. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Curt Gowdy of NBC Sports. Ken Coleman, the broadcaster of the Boston Red Sox. Another warm October afternoon here in Boston. And as we look out at the flag, it's a crosswind today, blowing from third to first. And of course, the dominant figures yesterday, Lou Brock and Bob Gibson. Gibson is out of the game today, but the Red Sox must stop Brock. And to do that, they're changing catchers and putting the veteran Ellie Howard behind the plate. Howard caught for the Yankees in 1964 when they played the Cardinals, and he had good luck against Brock and Flood on the bases. And Ken Coleman, the Red Sox are pitching their ace today, Jim Lonborg. And unless they want a near disaster, they must win in their own ballpark today before they depart for St. Louis.
Well, that certainly is the case, Curt, and Jim Lonborg has been the man who has been the stopper for this Boston ball club all year. He's won 22, and he says he's ready.
And, of course, the Cardinals will be going with Dick Hughes. We'll be telling you more about the starting pitchers. Both clubs are poised and ready, and right now, Ken is going to run you down the ballpark in case you didn't look on yesterday.
Yes, Curt, just to refresh your memory, this ballpark has a few idiosyncrasies of its own. As you can see, there is the monster, as we call it, out in left field. It's 315 feet down the line and 37 feet high, and there is hardly any foul territory down in that corner. It's a pretty good poke out into center field, and you see that yellow line out there. To the left of that would be playable, and to the right of that would be home run territory. That is, from that point where it juts up. Then into the center field bleachers, the Boston bullpen, and on over to the St. Louis bullpen. It's not much of a shot down into the right field corner either. However, as you see, it cuts away very sharply. So that's the layout of historic Fenway Park in Boston. The pitchers are getting ready, and here to tell you about them, Curt Gowdy.
And we have a 29-year-old rookie going for the Cardinals, Dick Hughes, who spent 9 years in the minor leagues. Plagued with control problems, he finally licked it with a no wind-up delivery. He had a fine season for the Cardinals this year, winning 16, losing 6 with an earned run average of 2.67. He has a good fastball, a hard slider, and as their pitching coach Billy Muffet says, if he's down low, he's going to be rough for the Red Sox in this ballpark. Dick Hughes going in the second game for the Cardinals. And over for the Red Sox, the ace of their staff, the man who won the big ball game for them last Sunday, going the route to beat the Minnesota Twins. Lonborg, a 22-game winner, lost 9, and a strong candidate for the Cy Young Award as the top pitcher in the American League this year. Lonborg, a 500 pitcher, suddenly blossomed this year into greatness. He's always had a good sinking fastball, but this year he came up with a hard slider and a changeup, and of course, maturity helped him here in the big leagues. He's still a youngster, only 24 years old, and by the way, today, it's St. Louis Obispo Day out in California, his hometown. Two right-handers going against each other. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we're just about ready for the introduction of the starting lineups here at Fenway Park.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the second game of the 1967 World Series. Introducing the starting lineup for the 1967 National League champions, the St. Louis Cardinals. The manager of the St. Louis Cardinals, Red Sox. Batting first and playing left field, number 20, Lou Brock.
Batting second and playing center field, number 21, Curt Gowdy. Batting third, playing right field, number 9, Roger Maris. Batting fourth, playing first base, number 30, Orlando Cepeda. Batting fifth, the catcher, number 15, Tim McCarver. Batting sixth and playing third base, number 18, Mike Shannon. Batting seventh and playing second base, number 25, Julian Javier. Batting eighth and playing shortstop, number 27, Dal Maxville. Batting ninth and pitching for St. Louis, number 31, Dick Hughes. And now, ladies and gentlemen, the coaches and the rest of the pennant-winning St. Louis Cardinals. And now, ladies and gentlemen, the starting lineup for the 1967 American League champions, the Boston Red Sox. The manager of the Boston Red Sox, Dick Williams. Leading off and playing right field, number 12, Jose Tardebo. Batting second and playing third base, number 3, Dalton Jones. Batting third, playing left field, number 8, Carl Yastrzemski. Batting fourth, playing first base, number 5, George Scott. Batting fifth, playing center field, number 7, Reggie Smith. Batting sixth and playing second base, number 14, Jerry Adair. Batting seventh, playing shortstop, number 6, Rico Petrocelli. Batting eighth, catching, number 18, Elston Howard. Batting ninth and pitching for Boston, number 16, Jim Lonborg. And now, ladies and gentlemen, the coaches and the rest of the pennant-winning Boston Red Sox. By John Pally will accompany Andy Poloninos in our national anthem.
We've already had the meeting at home plate. The umpires assigned to the game. The senior umpire of the major leagues, Al Barlick of the National League, will be behind the plate. And he's working his 7th World Series. Frank Umont's at first, working his 3rd World Series of the American League. Augie Donatelli of the National League, his 4th World Series, is at second base. Ed Runge of the American League is his 3rd World Series. Paul Pryor of the National League, umpiring the left field line, his 1st World Series. And John Stevens of the American League, his 4th World Series. Throwing out the first ball, the president of the American League, a former star shortstop here with the Red Sox, former manager of the Red Sox, general manager of the Red Sox, with his old teammate in front of him, Bobby Dorr, a Hall of Famer, Joe Cronin, one of the greatest shortstops who ever lived. And there it is, caught by Elston Howard. Joe, with that infectious Irish grin of his, he and Bobby Dorr, he managed the 46 Red Sox when they played against the Cardinals in the World Series. There go the Red Sox on the field. We pause briefly for station identification. This is the NBC television.
Channel 3, Jackson.
Sports are over on radio. Tony Kubek will be with us if we have time after the game for interviews with some of the stars on the field. And here's gentleman Jim Lonborg, a pre-med student at the University of Stanford in his junior year when he signed a contract with the Boston Red Sox organization. Ken Coleman, though, will tell you all about him, and then the second game will be underway. Ken Coleman, the broadcaster of the Boston Red Sox.
Thank you very much, Curt, and hello again, everybody. As you see, Jim won 22 and lost 9, and he's been the bellwether of this staff, working 274 and a third innings. This is not necessarily his best kind of day. He prefers cool weather, and it's a very warm, humid day in Boston. And as Curt mentioned, it is also Jim Lonborg Day in San Luis Obispo, California, his hometown. Lonborg is a very intelligent young man, but also somewhat superstitious. And because he won a lot more on the road this year than he did at home, in his last start against the Twins, he checked into a local hotel instead of staying in his apartment, so he'd have the feel of being on the road. And he did the same thing here last night. A little bit of superstition as far as this intelligent young man is concerned. Overall, his record at Fenway Park has been 9-5 compared to 13-4 on the road. Dick Sisler is coaching at first base for St. Louis, and Joe Schultz is the coach at third. And at the plate, one of the heroes of yesterday's game, along with Bob Gibson, left fielder Lou Brock, who had 4 for 4 and a walk, and was all that Boston fans had heard he was supposed to be. A truly great performance yesterday. He stole 2 bases. Ball 1. Lonborg, until this year, was not a strikeout pitcher, but he led the American League in strikeouts this season at 245. 1-1. The handsome young Californian has 2 kinds of fastballs. When it's down, it sinks. When it is up, it jumps. 2 balls, 1 strike. Red Sox first baseman George Scott, in speaking of Lou Brock yesterday, said he never saw anybody get such a quick jump. He said, we kept him close to the bag, but all of a sudden he was gone. Petrocelli has it. For the first time in the 1967 World Series, Lou Brock is not a base runner.
Well, that's a good way to keep him from stealing, Ken.
I should say so. He wrapped that one well. Here is Curt Flood on the year at .335 with 5 homers and 50 runs batted in. Ball 1. Juggling, but managed to make the play. 2 out in the Cardinal first inning. This 1967 World Series telecast comes to you from Fenway Park in Boston. live in color and exclusively on NBC. Maris drove in both Cardinal runs yesterday on infield outs. Ball one. Brock scored both of them. Second baseman Adair a step back on the grass. Foul back. 1 ball, 1 strike. The Red Sox pitcher Jim Lonborg is a thinking type, and he says that he tries to concentrate as though he were in a closet when he's on the mound and can see nothing but the catcher and the target. 1-2. Adair backing up. Tarnable in. Jose Tarnable makes the catch, and the Cardinals go in order in the first. No runs, no hits, and nobody left on. At the middle of the first inning, the score is St. Louis 0, and the Red Sox coming to bat.
How will you spend the extra time?
And here's a man you have to admire, Dick Hughes, who spent 9 years in the minor leagues before coming up to the Cardinals and doing a tremendous job, starting in the organization in 1958, and what a thrill it must be for him today. Tarnable fouls it off. Mike Shannon fielding the ball.
And Dick Williams said that they were going to try and bunt on Shannon. That's Dorr coaching at first for the Red Sox, Poposky at third. Yesterday, they didn't try and bunt too much with Gibson, a great fielding pitcher on the mound, but we may look for him to dump some down the third baseline today.
And, of course, it is one of Tarnable's specialties. Strike 2. Although we might add, oddly enough, Jose, in the last few weeks, has hit some very long balls. He has no home runs on the year, but he's almost put a couple up. 1-2. The big story with Hughes in his success this year has been his control, as evidenced by his strikeout and walk ratio. Roger Maris makes the catch. 1 out in the last of the first. No score. We're in the first inning of Game 2. This game is authorized under television rights granted by the Commissioner of Baseball, solely for the entertainment. Dalton Jones batting .289. Ball 1. That was his average during the year. Dalton's dad was a professional baseball player, Clint Jones, and his mother and dad are here to watch him today. 1-1. It was Jones who carried the Red Sox, along with Yastrzemski, on their last road trip of the year when they won 6 out of 8. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Count hangs at 1-2. Jones had 15 hits in his last 35 at-bats during the season for an average of .429 in the last 2 weeks. Two balls, 2 strikes. Like the second baseman, Adair, Jones is a very quiet fellow who does his speaking with his bat. Dick Hughes allowed an average of just over 6 hits per 9 innings this year, had 1 2-hitter, 3 3-hitters, and 4 4-hit games. Walked only 48 men in 222 innings on the mound. Foul back here. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Almost lost Alan Roth there, Curt.
He's still under the table.
Hughes strikes out Jones with a good fastball, and there are 2 men out in the first inning, no score. And Carl Yastrzemski coming up.
Any veteran men who have covered the World Series for years were astonished yesterday when after the game, watched Carl Yastrzemski come out and take a half-hour batting practice, along with Rico Petrocelli and Ken Harrelson. Many said they'd never seen that done before by a player after a World Series game.
Right, Curt. Ball 1 to Carl. He has done it a few times, as you know, during the course of the regular season when the Red Sox have played afternoon games, but as you say, it's unprecedented after a World Series. Ball 2. And it's just more evidence, I think, of the kind of determination that has helped make this fellow the great ball player he is. That might be foul, and is. Two balls, 1 strike. This year, Yastrzemski hit 27 home runs here in Boston and 17 on the road. But the amazing thing was his monthly totals. 2 in April, which is a short baseball month, and then 8, 8, 8, 9, and 9. 3 and 1. Gives you an idea of the consistency that Carl had all season long. Notice how high he holds that bat. Now he needs a little extra time.
He used to hold it even higher as a younger player. He's brought that bat down several inches, but he was really unorthodox with it when he first broke in.
Three and 2. He was going after Kenmore Square with that one. What he's doing right now is almost a ritual with Carl. He always is fixing his helmet and hitching at his belt like that. Accidental foul ball. 2 men out, last of the first, no score. The second game of the 1967 World Series. And as was the case yesterday, we've been blessed with a beautiful afternoon. Yastrzemski once played on a ball club that consisted of all relatives. His brother, or rather his father and his father's brothers. Carl was the youngest player on that team down in Bridgehampton, Long Island. Hughes from Shreveport, Louisiana. Well, we've got a war of nerves going here. Carl Yastrzemski is the first base runner of the ball game, and George Scott is coming to the plate. He is the only Red Sox player who was able to solve the serves of Bob Gibson yesterday, as he came up with a pair of base hits, including a double in 3 trips to the plate. Cepeda, the first baseman. Yaz back again. Ball 1. There you see the series average of Big George. 1 ball, 1 strike. In his 2 years with the Red Sox, Scott has missed only 3 games, and that was on a trip out to Anaheim when he weighed in about 3 pounds over his limit of 215. He had to get the weight down before he could get back in. 3-1. Hughes, who has good control, struggling a little here now with 2 out and Yastrzemski on first in the last of the first and no score. And 2. Yaz will be going. Foul back. Yastrzemski, the Triple Crown winner. Scott strikes out, and the Red Sox are down in the first inning as Hughes strikes out 2 for Boston. No runs, no hits, and 1 man left on. At the end of 1, the score is St. Louis 0, Boston 0. We have a message now from the Commissioner of Baseball. On behalf of all baseball, I welcome you to the second game of the 64th Annual World Series between the American and National League. Baseball thanks you and the fans all over the country watching and listening on NBC stations for your loyal support throughout a thrilling, outstanding season. Enjoy the game and have a good time. William D. Eckert, Commissioner of Baseball. Cepeda takes a ball. This is his kind of ballpark, and they managed to hold him yesterday. 1-1.
Well, they stopped the 2 big guys yesterday, Ken, Cepeda and Yastrzemski, and you wonder when one of them is going to break the ice here.
Yastrzemski takes it. Cepeda flies to Yastrzemski, and there's one out in the second. Orlando has been battling a late season slump. He had an average of only 161 in his last 19 games with 3 runs batted in, and had only 1 home run in September in Pittsburgh on the 8th of September. Tim McCarver at the plate. Tim was 0 for 3 in game 1. Ball 1. Ball 2. They call Lonborg Gentleman Jim, and he certainly is. Very fine young man. When he pitches here in Boston at night, he always goes to the movie in the afternoon over in Kenmore Square in back of the ballpark. As soon as he gets out, he looks out to see which way the flag's blowing. It's always a big factor for pitchers here. Scott to Lonborg. McCarver is retired. 2 out in the second. No score. Mike Shannon had 2 for 4 yesterday and made a brilliant play in the field for St. Louis. Very versatile performer. He was the right fielder in the 1964 series. Strike 1. They use an American League baseball here in Boston. They'll use a National League ball over in St. Louis. And of course, the stance of the umpires is different. Strike 2.
Barlick puts on quite a show behind there, doesn't he?
I'll say. You know what he's telling you. Foul ball. 2 strikes on Shannon, 2 out and nobody on. Top of the second inning at Fenway Park and no score. One of the interesting things about this ballpark is that you can get into all kinds of situations offensively here. We've seen, Curt, I know in the many years you covered the Red Sox, you've seen situations where a club could be down like 7-0 and win 8-7, etc. Shannon is out. That's all in the second. Lonborg gets his first strikeout as he gets the side in order for St. Louis. No runs, no hits, and nobody left on. And so at the middle of 2, the score, the Cardinals nothing, the Red Sox nothing.
American Football League action. NBC telecast the AFL Championship game, the All-Star game, the Senior Bowl, the East-West game, and a big triple-header on New Year's Day, the Rose Bowl, Orange Bowl, and Sugar Bowl. NBC for sports. Here we go, the last of the second, Ken.
Reggie Smith takes ball 1. Smith was 1 for 3 yesterday. 1-1. Adair will be next, and then Petroselli. 1-2. The scouting reports on Hughes said that he had an average fastball, good slider, and good curve and good control. But, Curt, that fastball is quicker than they thought today.
It is better than average.
Tim McCarver takes the pop from Smith. 1 away in the second. No score. Jerry Adair, sometimes known as Mr. Clutch around these parts, batting .266 on the season. Yesterday, Jerry was 0 for 4. with the Red Sox. He appeared in 89 games after coming over from Chicago, and for Boston, he hit .292. He hit .321 in his final 48 games of the year after becoming a regular on the 8th of August. Lou Brock makes the catch. Adair lines to Lou Brock in left field. A very fine play by the Cardinal left fielder, who did it yesterday with his bat and his feet, and today with his glove.
Here's Brock, not quite maybe as good as the one Yastrzemski yesterday. This is always a tough play for a left fielder, whether to go for the ball or play it off the wall. And Brock had perfect timing on that one as he went up.
Petrocelli fouls back the first pitch, strike one to Rico. Rico had all kinds of trouble with Gibson yesterday, went 0 for 3, and was lifted for a pinch hitter, which is unusual for him. But he had an awful lot of trouble following Bob's motion. 1-1. Petrocelli is not very big, but he has good power, as evidenced by his 17 home runs this year. One and two. Two and two. There's a little bit of a problem playing this left field, and Brock certainly responded beautifully to the challenge that time. Little gust of wind comes up now. There is a crosswind that's been blowing to it right, but so far it hasn't been much of a factor. It's picking up just a bit now. Full count, 3-2 on Rico. Single, and the first Red Sox hit of the game. The Red Sox have a runner at first and 2 out. This is the last of the second, and it's scoreless. Elston Howard at the plate. Howard has done a great job with the young pitchers on the Red Sox staff. Admittedly, Ellie has been disappointed in his appearances at the plate, but every so often has come up with a big hit. Rico back safely. Center fielder Curt Flood makes the catch on Elston Howard. The Red Sox are out in the second. No runs, 1 base hit, and 1 man is left on. At the end of 2, the Cardinals nothing and the Red Sox nothing.
To your left of Commissioner Eckert is Captain Charles Q. Williams, who in 1966 received the Congressional Medal of Honor, Vietnam, wounded 6 times. He's been a fan of the Red Sox for 20 years. The Red Sox invited him here, and he's also a guest of Commissioner Eckert. His home is Vance, South Carolina. Back of the commissioner is the Crown Prince of Nepal. Royally here today, kid.
I'll say. Julian Javier is at the plate. 3rd inning, no score. Petrocelli to Scott for the out. 1 out in the 3rd inning. Javier yesterday had 2 for 4. Now Dal Maxville, the shortstop. Eddie Brasseau, who used to play here, and Curt mentioned this yesterday, knows all about this ballpark, and he told Maxville, don't even look at that wall. Scott has it. Line drive to the first baseman. And there are 2 men out in the 3rd. The pitcher, Dick Hughes, will be next. Dick has a batting average or did, on the year of 128. No home runs. He drove in 4, though. Foul back. 2 men out, nobody on in the top of the third. It's scoreless in Boston. Two strikes. Lonborg gets the side in order, gets his second strikeout, and has faced 9 men over the first 3 and retired all of them. No runs, no hits, and nobody left on. And so, after 2 1/2 innings, the score, St. Louis nothing, Boston nothing.
Tonight at 10 o'clock Eastern Time. Last of the third inning here at Fenway Park.
Jim Lonborg at the plate. Strike 1. Jim turned out to be a pretty good hitter this year. For a pitcher, he had an average of 143, but that's deceiving. He drove in 8 runs in key spots for himself, 1 and 1, including a big one in his 20th victory against the Athletics here, when he faked bunting and took a half swing and wound up with a triple into right center. 1 and 2. Lonborg strikes out, leading off in the last of the third. The third K for Hughes, and there's 1 out. No score.
For a ballpark that's supposed to be a hitter's ballpark, the pitchers have taken over so far in this World Series.
I should say so. Here's Tarnable. I get used to talking about the way pitchers hit because I work with Mel Parnell all summer, Curt.
You know, I used to watch. He was good with that bat.
He sure was. Fine hitting pitcher. Strike 1 to Tarnable, who flied to Maris in the first inning. Third baseman Shannon is anticipating the bunt possibility. Mr. Barlick is really in voice today. Two strikes on Tarnable. One and 2.
You know, Ken, he was a major league umpire at the age of 25, Al Barlick.
Oh. Breaking stuff got him, and that's the 4th strikeout for Dick Hughes. 2 out in the Boston third, no score. And Dalton Jones coming up. He struck out in the first inning. Hughes led the St. Louis staff in victories this year with 16, and he had 12 complete games to lead in that department. And just think, last year he played on 4 different teams. Strike 1. 4 different minor league teams, or 3, and then 6 games with the Cards. This may be out of play. It is. Two strikes on Dalton Jones. 2 out in the last half of the third inning, no score in the second game of the World Series. The breeze toward right seems to be picking up just a little bit more. One and 2. There you see the flag blowing. That's going toward right field here at Fenway. Roger Maris makes the catch, and the Red Sox are down in order in the third. No runs, no hits, and nobody left on. And so at the end of 3 to score, St. Louis nothing and Boston nothing. Strikes, 1 swinging and 1 called. Brock lined Rico Petrocelli at shortstop, leading off the game. And it was the first time that Lou was not on in the series. Adair to Scott. Fine play by the Red Sox second baseman.
Gary Adair has been a key man for the Red Sox. Watch him here isolated. The cross-the-body stab that the second baseman must make. And he got rid of that ball, and he had something on it to get the fleet Brock at first base.
1 out in the 4th, and Curt Flood is up. Bounce to Jones first time. Curve missing, ball 1. Flood is one of the great defensive center fielders in all baseball. One and 1. He has won the Gold Glove Award, Brock has, in each of his last 4 years. Very fast at 5'9", 165 pounds. 2 and 1. Speaking of Curt Flood at the plate. Petrocelli gets him at first.
Rico Petrocelli has a powerful throwing arm, and even though he bobbled this ball, that arm saved him on this one. He threw this one from the hole. Watch this play at first. It was a close one. So the Red Sox have come up with 2 sparkling plays behind Jim Lonborg, and now 11 men in a row have gone down for the Cardinals.
2 men out in the 4th, and Roger Maris at the plate. He flied to Tarnable in right in the first inning. Strike 1. Well, the left side of that infield has been living dangerously with Rico and Dalton both juggling balls before throwing people out. 1 and 1.
Red Sox have been living dangerously all year, haven't they?
Two balls, 1 strike on Maris. That'll be out of reach. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Jones and Petrocelli and Scott. It's Rico who makes the catch. And Jim Lonborg has set down the first 12 men to face him in this ball game. The Cardinals out in order in the fourth inning. After 3 1/2 the score, St. Louis nothing and Boston nothing. As we go to the last half of the fourth inning, and Carl Yastrzemski comes up. He walked in the first. He's one of 2 Boston base runners in this game. The other, Petrocelli, in the second on a single. It's scoreless. Strike one. Hughes and Yastrzemski went to 3-2 the first time. Had several delays as Dick took a lot of time with Yaz and then finally walked him. Deep to right field. Home run. The Red Sox take a 1-0 lead as Yastrzemski homers. Delays as Dick took a lot of time with Yaz and then finally walked him. Deep to right field. Home run. The Red Sox take a 1-0 lead as Yastrzemski homers. Scott bangs a single to left. George on first base.
Here's Yastrzemski, who turned from an opposite field hitter. Look at him pull that ball. He was well around on it and lined the home run into the right field grandstand. He takes one of the hardest cuts in baseball, but used to go to left and left center. Now a dead pull hitter almost, and with that tremendous swing and a compact body, he's become one of the big sluggers of baseball.
Reggie Smith fouled to the catcher last time. Scott at first and nobody out. Boston ahead 1-0 in the fourth. 0-1. It has been Yastrzemski who has lit the spark all year with his ball club. Lou Brock back, has room and makes the catch. Scott tags up and bluffs going towards second. Action now in the St. Louis bullpen. Rico single to left in the second. 1. George Scott, the runner at second, and Jerry Adair on first. Two strikes. He'd go a little angry with himself going for that high stuff. A left-hander and a right-hander warming up out in the bullpen now for the St. Louis Cardinals. The right-hander is LeMahieu, the left-hander is Larry Jaster. That one is back out of play. The home run by Yastrzemski was his 45th of 1967, as he had 44 on the regular campaign. He had 27 during the regular season here at Fenway and 17 on the road. One and two. Yastrzemski's home run total of 44 was a new record for a Red Sox left-handed hitter, breaking 43 held by Ted Williams. 1 ball, 2 strikes, 1 out, and 2 on in the fourth. Red Sox ahead 1-0. That's foul. The base runners ready to go, 1 and 2. Another one back out of reach. Boston leading 1-0 in the fourth inning of Game 2. Petrocelli just getting a piece of the ball. Rico considers himself to be a very fortunate young man. When he was growing up in New York City, his dad made sure, when he found out that he had some talent, that he played a lot of baseball. Another foul, and the suspense continues. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Jerry Adair at first base for Boston, and Scott out there on second. Petrocelli strikes out. A big one for Dick Hughes in the clutch. The 5th strikeout for the St. Louis right-hander. And now Elston Howard is at the plate. He flied to Curt Flood in center field in the second. Howard has played in 9 World Series and in 47 series games. Ball 1. In the 64 series against the Cardinals, he hit .292 for New York. Great stop and throw. Out at second base is Jerry Adair as Javier comes up with a great play. The best in the series so far.
That's right, Ken. That was the best. That saved one run. And here it is. Watch him dive for that. An almost impossible stop. The remarkable part of the play is his recovery to still make the force out at second.
And so at the end of 4, it is Boston 1 and St. Louis nothing.
Plays in this game. A sparkler so far. The Red Sox leading 1-0. We're in the top of the 5th inning. And again, Ken Coleman.
Okay, Curt, thank you. And here's Orlando Cepeda, who flied to Yastrzemski and left in the second. Strike 1. Under any circumstances, the play by Javier was great, but in a World Series, even more so. Dalton Jones to Scott. Cepeda's retired, 1 out in the 5th. Tim McCarver will be next. The totals on that last inning for Boston: 1 run, 3 hits, and 2 were left. This fellow was the batting leader in the 1964 World Series, had an average of .478. Strike 1. If they're ever casting Casey at the bat, Barlick would have to be the umpire. Two strikes on the Cardinal catcher. Red Sox lead 1-0. This is the 5th inning. On deck is Shannon. Foul ball. Goes out on the roof. 2 strikes. One and 2. Yastrzemski going hard. 2 down in the 5th inning. Some fans have called the Red Sox left fielder here in New England Yastrzemski. He's had a lot of nicknames. He was very thrilled yesterday, Curt. He got a telegram from the students at Notre Dame. I understand it cost something like $160 to send it. There were so many names. He went there for a year, you know. Breaking stuff to Shannon for a strike.
And he finished his college degree at Merrimack College in the Merrimack Valley. Shows you what kind of a fellow he is. He took the off season to complete his college education.
And just got it done last year. This will be out of play. 2 strikes on Shannon, who struck out in the second. One of 2 strikeout victims for Lonborg, who led the American League in that department this year. Jim Bunning was the leader over in the National League with 253. Lonborg had 245. Lonborg's 22 wins was the most by a Red Sox pitcher since Mel Parnell won 25 and Ellis Kinder won 23 in 1949. Over the first 5 innings of this ball game has pitched to 15 men. He has retired all of them. No runs, no hits, and nobody left on after 4 1/2. The score is Boston 1 and St. Louis nothing. Here we go now into the last of the 5th, and here is Curt Gowdy.
There goes Lonborg's bat. It's a strike to him. He struck out his first time. We'll go to the top of the Red Sox order and pick up Jose Tartabull and then Dalton Jones. This game rocking along. The first 4 1/2 innings played in 1 hour and 2 minutes. They're playing Lonborg to the opposite field and not too deep in that outfield. And he hits it very shallow in the right field. Roger Maris draws a beat on it. We have 1 down. Top of the order now, Jose Tartabull. Fly to right, struck out. Well, yesterday the Cardinals had the base runners. Today it's been the Red Sox. But as yesterday, the base runners have not produced many runs. Carl Yastrzemski's home run to lead off the 4th inning is the difference right now. 1 run, 4 hits for the Red Sox. No runs, no hits for the Cardinals. Tartabull's played to the opposite field. Fouls it back for a strike. Dick Williams changed his lineup. Took Harrelson out of right, put Tartabull in right. Dropped Adair out of the leadoff spot down to number 6. Put Scott in the cleanup position. He likes to shuffle around. 1 ball, 1 strike. No game tomorrow. Both clubs will be flying out of here. They'll be working out, though, the new stadium in St. Louis tomorrow. And Game 3 will be Saturday. There's a drive hit to deep left center. Flood back waiting. 2 down. Dalton Jones coming up. Struck out, flied out. Here's a boy that's been in the major leagues 5 years and still is only 23 years old. He's improving each year. A ball to him. 1-0. Yastrzemski on deck. Grounds it hard down to Cepeda. The flip to Hughes covering. That's all for the Red Sox. They're gone 1, 2, 3 in the 5th. The end of the 5th inning, our score is the Red Sox 1 and the Cardinals nothing.
Five-card draw. Winner takes all.
Open.
I'm in. What do you have?
Draw a 2.
Good idea. Draw 2 Budweiser, bartender. You know, you won't find another beer with the taste and smoothness of this one either side of them. That's cause of all brand.
For station identification. Fenway Park, there is the only sign allowed in this ballpark by the owner, Tom Yawkey, and that's a sign for the Jimmy Fund, the Children's Cancer Research Foundation, in which baseball has played a big part to help little boys and girls with cancer. Bill Coster, the executive secretary, tells me that the dollars are sent to the Jimmy Fund in Boston from all the Major League ball clubs and their fans from all over America, and we hope now from all over the world. But that's the only sign allowed in this park. And Red Sox players over the years, Ted Williams and I have been co-chairman of it, and down through the years, Tom Yawkey, have all pitched in to help the little boys and girls. And this tradition will continue with future Red Sox players. Well, this is the man that's made the top defensive play of the World Series so far, Julian Javier. With that diving stop off the bat of Elston Howard to save a run and the final out of the 4th inning. Javier has had his best year for St. Louis, originally in the Pittsburgh Pirate organization. The strike. The Cardinals have made some shrewd trades. They got Brock from the Cubs, Javier from the Pirates, Cepeda from the Giants, Curt Flood from Cincinnati. All 4 outstanding stars. Javier, Maxwell, and Hughes, the bottom third of the order. And Roger Maris from the Yankees last year, along with homegrown talent. One strike to Javier. 1-1. So far, Lonborg has not even come close to walking anyone. Javier can sting that ball. He had 14 homers this year, and then he'll really pull one to left. Squibs it foul over toward the Red Sox dugout. Well, the only long count that Lonborg's had in the game was 3-2 to Roger Maris in the 4th inning. Aside from that, he's been ahead of the hitters all the way. The pitcher with his stuff is ahead. Watch out. Unless he loses it, and that can happen. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Javier. Nobody on, nobody out. 6th inning. 1-0 Red Sox. 2-2. This breeze has suddenly sprung up now and is blowing briskly from 3rd to 1st. Ball's in the air to right field will be given a boost. A little low and outside. That is his second 3-2 count in the game. He seems to be pitching a little more deliberately or carefully here in this inning than he has in the previous 5. A 3-2 pitch. Fly ball to right field. Tartable there. 1 away in the 6th. 16 men in a row now have gone down for the Cardinals against Jim Lonborg. Del Maxville lined to first. The Cardinal shortstop. Some big hits this year for the Cardinals, even though a .227 batting average. Lives in Granite City, Illinois. Played slightly to right. Strike on the sinker ball. The Cardinal pitcher, Dick Hughes, will be up next. One strike pitch. There's his slider. That's the pitch that's made him this year. He throws about 25 sliders a game, a hard slider. It was Ted Williams in spring training that talked him into throwing that slider more. 2 strikes. Look out. He led the American League in hitting batters. He hit 19 batters. He used to be, well, not meek on the mound, but Mr. Nice Guy. Sal Magley changed that. But don't let those hitters dig in there against you. Take your paycheck away from you. 2-2. Old Diz Dean used to have the saying for that, pleasingly wild. One away, nobody on, 2-2 to Del Maxville. Red Sox ahead 1-0 in the 6th inning. Bounding ball, Petrocelli back of the bag. The throw, he's got him. And they're
2 down. This Red Sox infield has played brilliantly behind Lonborg today. That brings up the Cardinal pitcher, Dick Hughes, who's pitched quite a ball game himself, but hasn't quite matched Lonborg so far. Hughes struck out his first time. 17 men in a row have gone down now in this game for the Cardinals. Tries to bunt his way on. Foul ball. Lou Brock's on deck. He's at the top of the order, of course. The ball, you know, he looks fast just crouching in the on-deck circle. He's built like a whippet. One ball, one strike. 2 away, bases clear. Fastball bumped in there. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Every man Lonborg gets out as he sails along here. He's going to hear more and more roars from his hometown crowd. Nearly hit him. 2-2. You notice Hughes, when we get back on him in the plate, is soaking wet. It's a muggy day here in Boston. He's drenched with perspiration. Just a little high. 3-2 now. This is his second 3-2 count of this inning. And he's starting to throw some extra pitches. The 3-2 delivery. Struck him. And again the Cardinals go down. Lonborg has pitched a perfect game so far. 3 up, 3 down. In the middle of the 6th inning, the score, the Boston Red Sox 1 and the St. Louis Cardinals nothing. Carl Yastrzemski leading off. Carl has walked and slammed a home run to the right field grandstand. The only run of the ball game. He led off the 4th with it. Yastrzemski, Scott, and Smith. Ball 1 to him.
Well, Curt, just mayor this time. He's been up for governor and president and a few other things, too. But I wanted to mention that home run that he hit. He doesn't usually pull quite that much here in Boston.
Hughes slowed up with him, got it over. Somebody took a big ad out in the Boston paper yesterday. Yastrzemski for mayor in 1975. I guess they give him another 8 years in the big league. 1 ball, 1 strike. It's low, 2-1 to him now.
Most of his home runs have been to straightaway right or up into the center field seats, and once in a while up into the screen in the left, which is where, until this year, he used to hit more and more. Getting a little cloudy right now, Curt.
It is overcast. The 2-1 pitch. Fastball in for a strike. 2-2. Tell you one thing, Yastrzemski's always had the sense of humor. He got a big bonus, $100,000 bonus to sign, and they all used to kid him about Mr. Moneybags, and never bothered him. He took quite a hazing when he was a rookie here. 2-2 pitch to him. Foul back. Speaking of $100,000, the very strong rumor is he is going to be the second $100,000 ball player in the history of the Red Sox. Ted Williams earned $125,000 here in his last few years with the Red Sox. Yastrzemski's almost sure from a generous owner, Mr. Yockey, to get $100 for the year he's had. Let's just say he's going to get a raise. Foul back out of play again. So it's 2-2 to Carl Yastrzemski. Nobody on, nobody out for the Red Sox in the last of the 6th inning. The Red Sox have 1 run, 4 hits. The St. Louis Cardinals have no runs, no hits. Yastrzemski takes about as hard a cut as anybody in baseball. There's only one man in the American League I can think of who takes a more vicious cut, and that's a pitcher by the name of Earl Wilson. He's quite a hitting pitcher. The 2-2 pitch. There's a fly ball down the left field line. Brock scampering over. One away. George Scott, who's had 3 hits so far in the series, struck out and singled. This 1967 World Series telecast comes to you from Fenway Park in Boston, live in color, exclusively on NBC. Now, George's mother, Magnolia, out of Mississippi, rooting for her boy, low and outside.
John Havlicek of the Boston Celtics was in the clubhouse the other day. They got talking about basketball. He was wondering if George wanted to play for the Celtics. George is a big guy, but John towers over him a little, Curt.
Pitch is outside, ball 2. Scott was a quarterback, an outstanding quarterback in high school. Quite a basketball player, just a natural athlete. 3-0. Reggie Smith on deck. Dick Hughes has walked only 1. He struck out 5. He's had good stuff today. A 3-0 pitch. In there, 3-1. Scott Ludwig now for hitter tape to Eddie Poposky, the third base coach. They play him deep and to pull that ball to left. 3-2. It's been a pitching World Series so far, and brilliant pitching. A 3-2 pitch is ball 4 and Scott's on. Reggie Smith, a rookie from Los Angeles, California, fouled out, flied out. Here's the boy the Red Sox think in another year or 2 is going to be a real star in the American League. He has a throwing arm that second to none. He can run, and he's a good switch hitter.
He opened the season this year at second base, Curt, because Mike Andrews had a bad back early, but his best position is center field, and Dom DiMaggio has done a great job in working with him in spring training and helped to develop Reggie.
1 out, Scott on first. 1-0, Red Sox ahead.
Incidentally, you probably heard of the switch about Dom, his brother Joe, calling him, needing World Series tickets. Very unusual in the DiMaggio family.
Ball 1. Mean he had to take care of Joe?
Yeah, and he did.
1 ball, no strikes to Reggie Smith. Again, keeping Scott close. Scott can run for a big man. He stole 11 bases this year. 2-0. We're getting some action now in the Cardinal bullpen. Ron Willis. Sinker ball right-hander warming up. And if you take a close look at Dick Hughes, he is just drenched with perspiration here in this muggy day. His uniform is wringing wet. The 2-0 delivery. 3-0. Now he's getting into some problems with his control, which may mean he's starting to tire and losing a little edge. Born in Stevens, Arkansas, lives now in Shreveport, Louisiana. 3-0 pitch. Ball 4, and the Red Sox have runners on first and second. Red Schoendienst, galloping out of the dugout on the move, wants to talk to his pitcher. Tim McCarver will join him along with Orlando Cepeda. They were kidding Red yesterday. It was a brilliant game you managed. Red said, well, All I had to do was sit in the dugout and watch Mr. Gibson and Brock go to work. Shane Dienst is quite a human interest story in the Cardinals. For 11 years, he and Stan Musial were roommates. Now Musial's the general manager. Shane Dienst is the manager. They've been great friends for many, many years. And they've teamed up together as the top leaders of this ball club. With high morale all year. Shane Dienst is one of these quiet managers that doesn't overmanage his ball club. He has a set club and he knows it. Very respected and admired by his players. Jerry Adair. Robbed of a hit by Lou Brock in the second on a leaping catch in left and beat out an infield hit in the fourth. 1 out of 2. Ball 1 to him. Scott at second, Smith at first. You might have seen McCarver raise up off his haunches and wave Curt Flood in a couple of steps from center field. I thought Flood was playing Adair a little deep. Slams it to Shannon, boots the ball. Can't make a play anyplace. Shannon had the double play ball in front of him. It was hit hard to him, but he couldn't get a handle on it, and he is charged with an error. And the Red Sox now have the bases loaded, 1 out. With Rico Petrocelli the batter. Petrocelli has singled and struck out. And the Cardinals also are starting to warm up a left-hander. They're playing the infield back, hoping for that double play ball. Here's Shane Dienst coming out. He may decide that this is all for Hughes. Let's see. Joe Horner, the left-hander. Ron Willis, the right-hander. Loosened up and ready. As the Cardinals now are in real trouble here in the last of the 6th. He wants the right-hander. Ron Willis will come on into a bases-loaded situation with 1 out. Bases on balls got Hughes into the trouble after getting Yastrzemski in a fly to left. He walked Scott, he walked Smith, and he could have been out of this inning, but you never know. You can't anticipate the double play. But the double play ball was there for Shannon, and he couldn't handle it. So, there's a break in the action here at Fenway Park. The score is the Boston Red Sox 1 and the St. Louis Cardinals 0. Ron Willis, born in New Bern, Tennessee, lives now in Memphis, 24 years old. Began as an outfielder in 1961. He became a pitcher in 62, and this year he tied a St. Louis Cardinal club record set by Lindy McDaniel in 1960. He appeared in 65 games. He was a real workhorse out of that bullpen. He won 6, lost 5 this season. An earned run average of 2.67. He had 10 saves. A sinker baller, and he's in here now, and he'll try and get Petrocelli either by himself or get him to bang that ball to the infield, hope that they can make the double play and get out of this inning. The Red Sox have 1 run, 4 hits. Jim Lonborg has pitched a perfect game so far for the Boston Red Sox. Not a St. Louis Cardinal has reached base. Petrocelli has singled and struck out. And the skies are getting darker and darker. We could have a threat of rain here. It is very muggy, and that humidity may have taken the toll on Hughes. We'll see what it does to Lonborg in the 7th. Petrocelli gets a fly ball to score a run. That ball hit deep. Flood's back there. Tagging is Scott. He comes on. Smith tags to second, moves to third, and the Red Sox lead 2-0. Sacrifice fly for Rico Petrocelli and an RBI. Reggie Smith now at third. Jerry Adair stayed at first. 2 down, and Elston Howard up. Howard flying out, robbed of a base hit on a sparkling play by Javier in the 4th. That's Smith with his back to you, number 7, with a lead at third. A ball to him. Lonborg the pitcher scheduled up next. Elston says he doesn't know whether he's going to retire or not. He's thinking about it. Goes after the breaking pitch, 1-1. He's 37 now. One ball, one strike. Runners on first and third, 2 down. There goes the runner, Adair. McCarver pecks to third. Smith back, and Adair winds up at second.
Curt, that's a play the Red Sox have worked very successfully during the course of the year, the delayed double steal. And, of course, most of the time they've been able to get that man home from third base. But wisely in this situation, they went to third, and Shannon made a great stop.
And now they have 2 men in scoring position on second and third. You saw McCarver bluff that throw down. They're going to walk Howard now and pitch to Lonborg. And Lonborg is sure to get a tremendous ovation when he steps in that batter's box. The bases are loaded, 2 down. Jim Lonborg up. Listen to the hand for him. A standing ovation now for Lonborg for his perfect game so far. He has struck out, flied out. Base hit could really help him now. Fouls, look out, and hit is Jose Tarnable in the on-deck circle. He was knocked down, but he's all right. He was hit and sprawled backwards, but evidently didn't hurt him. 1 strike to Lonborg. They're playing Lonborg way around toward right to swing late and hit to the opposite field. Strike 2. Ron Willison with a curveball. 0-2 to Lonborg. Reggie Smith at third. Jerry Adair at second. And Elston Howard at first. It's getting very dark here. They'll have to turn the lights on. Struck him out on 3 pitches. The Red Sox have retired in the 6th. They picked up a run. No hits. There was 1 error. And 3 men left. So at the end of the 6th inning, the scores, the Boston Red Sox 2 and the St. Louis Cardinals nothing. They have just turned the lights on here at Fenway Park as it has become very dark and overcast. I want to remind you to tune in Saturday just before the World Series for World Series Report with Sandy Koufax and Jim Simpson. From St. Louis, the show will start at 1:30 Eastern Time. World Series Report on NBC. And it is sprinkling right now. Anytime you hear the word rain, I know in the World Series, there have been 371 World Series games played. There never has been one called before 9 innings. We got a pretty good track record going for us. Lou Brock will lead off in the 7th. Some of the fans trying to get back under cover. I believe this is going to be a very light shower right now. Big dark cloud passing overhead. Lou Brock has lined the short and robbed of a base hit by Jerry Adair at second. He has stung the ball twice. As we're in the 7th, not a Cardinal has reached base in this game. Lonborg has struck out 4. Brock hits a ground ball to Adair, scoops and nails him at first. Curt Flood coming up. Grounded out, and Petrocelli made a good play on him in the 4th. The Red Sox infield has played brilliantly today. In fact, Lonborg's had that sinker ball working so well. There have been only 3 balls hit to the outfield. They've been banging the ball on the ground. Curt Flood played straight away. It's a strike. That's been his pattern. He's in there. He's throwing strikes. He has had only 3 3-2 counts in the game. Ball 1, and I correct myself and I look at my scorecard again. 4 balls hit to the outfield. Red Sox 2, the Cardinals nothing. Top of the 7th. The 1-1 pitch to Curt Flood. Outside his slider, 2-1. Show you what kind of a ball player Flood is. Yesterday in the 7th inning, he had 2 strikes on him. Lou Brock on second. And a tough pitch to handle, high and inside, and he still managed to hit that ball to the right side of the infield to move Brock to third, and then Brock came in to score, but proved to be the winning run. Foul back, 2-2. Cardinals have in their bullpen warming up now Steve Carlton. He may be just working out there to tune himself up. We don't know. A 22-year-old left-hander that is going to have a great future. 3-2. That one didn't miss by much. Very overcast, as we told you here, and dark. The lights are on. The light sprinkle coming down. As Jim Lonborg right now is providing the dramatics. Cardinals have 1 out, nobody on. The 3-2 pitch. Foul back. The 3-2 pitch again to Curt Flood. Fouls it out of play and back to the first base side. Three and 2 to Flood. Roger Maris on deck. Lonborg working here with 3 days rest. There's the first base runner of the game for the Cardinals. Lonborg has lost his perfect game. Don Larson, of course, pitched the only one in World Series history in 1956. The losing pitcher in that game, that Larson pitched the perfect game, is over in the Red Sox dugout, Sal Magley. That Larson pitched the perfect game, is over in the Red Sox dugout, Sal Magley, who then was with the Brooklyn Dodgers. The final score was 2-0, New York. Roger Maris is flying to right and popped the short. They're playing deep and over toward right for Maris. Scott holding against Flood. Lonborg makes the flip over. Fly ball deep to Yastrzemski in the warning track. He's got it. Flips it back in, 2 down. Flood holding at first. Orlando Cepeda. Well, so far they've got Cepeda out, but he's one of those hold your breath hitters. You can get him out time after time, and nobody's done that much this year. But every time he comes up there, you just hold your breath. He's flying to left and grounded to third. The RBI leader of the National League. And the heavy favorite to win the Most Valuable Player award. 2 away, Curt Flood on first. The ball. We're in the top of the 7th with the Red Sox ahead, 2-0.
Incidentally, we want to send to our good Jewish fans and friends around America a very happy holiday wish from all of us here in our NBC telecasting booth today. All two, same spot. Pitching him high and tight. This is one of the few men, just about the second batter in the entire ball game that Lonborg has been behind on. The 2-0 pitch. Cepeda rams it hard. Petroselli stabs it to Adair for the force out. And Lonborg gets out again, although the Cardinals got their first base runner of the game on a walk. No runs, no hits, no errors, one left. In the middle of the seventh to score, the Red Sox 2 and the Cardinals nothing.
Just been added to the NBC sports schedule, both coming up the first 2 weeks of November. On November 4th and 5th, one of the top events on the PGA Tour, the Hawaiian Open, live and in color from Honolulu. It's the first live color sports event ever telecast by satellite from Hawaii. Then on November 11th, again in color, we'll bring you the Washington, D.C. International Horse Race from Laurel, Maryland, matching the best foreign horses in the world against the best United States thoroughbreds. It's the last half of the seventh inning at Fenway Park. The Red Sox lead 2-0, and once again, here is Curt Gowdy.
We're at the top of the Red Sox batting order with Jose Tartabull. He's fly to right, struck out, and fly to center. Reliever Ron Willis is low for a ball. Willis came in with a bases loaded, 1 out. Gave up a sacrifice fly to Petroselli, walked out, and then struck out Lonborg. Fouls it out of play, and the count 1-1. Cardinals have left-hander Joe Horner loosening up in their bullpen. He had ideas of bunting, pitched low again, 2-1 to Tartabull. Dalton Jones on deck, and then Carl Yastrzemski. And the Cardinals in their 8th will have McCarver, Shannon, and Javier. There's no soft touches in that Cardinal lineup for Lonborg. And the 2-1 pitch. 3-1 to Tartabull. Cardinals have played a lot of these Red Sox hitters to the opposite field. Right now they're playing Tartabull way over to left. Ball 4. Fast man's on. Dalton Jones, who usually gets a piece of the ball, and struck out, flied out, grounded out. Played straight away, and Shannon has shortened up at third now in case of a bunt. Cepeda holding against Tartabull at first. Willis keeps him close. Tartabull is a part-time player this year, stole 6 bases. Canigliaro, of course, played every game until he became injured. Really threw that one away. That's the old Bakerino. Been done since time immemorial. There is an attempted bunt foul.
You know, Curt, it was said around here last year, and there was something to it, that late in the year, when the Red Sox were in 9th place, and as some critics put it, fighting for 10th, one of the few things they had to cheer about was Tartabull taking the lead off first, so times have changed around here.
When he goes, he very seldom gets thrown out. Bounty ball. That's going to be a base hit for Dalton Jones. Shannon drawn in, couldn't get to it. Maxwell stopped the ball from going through, but the Red Sox have runners on first and second. They now have 5 hits, and the Cardinals have no hits. Jack LeMahieu and Joe Horner warming up in the Cardinal bullpen. Billy Muffet, who used to pitch for the Boston Red Sox. The portly one out there talking to his battery. He's the pitching coach of the Cardinals. And it looks like we're going to have a change. Left-hander Joe Horner coming in. Horner has a fastball that runs away from a right-hander. He's tougher sometimes on right-handers than he is left-handers. So if you're wondering why they're bringing a left-hander in, of course, Yastrzemski, left-hander's up next. And then Scott, but in this ballpark, a left-hander with the kind of stuff Horner has can be effective. There's a break in the action here at Fenway Park. The score, the Boston Red Sox 2, the St. Louis Cardinals nothing. And he'll come on to pitch to Yastrzemski, who has walked, hit a home run in the right field grandstand in the fourth with a count of 1 strike on him, and then flat out in the sixth. The Red Sox scored a run on Yastrzemski's homer in the fourth and picked up another run on Petrucelli's sacrifice fly in the sixth. That's been it. Yastrzemski's had trouble with left-handed pitching up until this year. He has hit left-handers better this year than any other season. Dark, overcast here. The lights are on. Light rain sprinkling down. In a dramatic World Series game that has been loaded with great play. Strike to Yastrzemski. Left-hander Al Jackson and right-hander Jack LeMahieu are now throwing for the Cardinals. Strike pitch. Ball 1-1. We have a darker cloud now coming over the stands behind third base toward us, and the wind is getting gusty. And right now this wind could start being a real factor in this game, playing havoc of pop-ups and fly balls. Papers are starting to swirl around on the field. 1-1 pitch. Strike 2. 1-2 to Yastrzemski. Raining harder now. But the fans are staying right in those seats out in the open. Tartabull at second. Jones at first. Nobody out. 2-2. There's Tartabull. And Jones. You notice they're playing off the bag with the left-hander up. So Jones can get a good lead. Might get into second ahead of a ground ball, a force-out attempt on him. The 2-2 pitch. There's a long drive to deep right. That ball's going. It is gone. Lead now 5-0. George Scott's the batter. A ball to him. Carl Yastrzemski joins a list of players now who have hit 2 home runs in a World Series game. The only man who ever hit 3 homers in a World Series game, the great Babe Ruth, who did it twice. 1-1. Yastrzemski may have a shot at that one. The last man to hit 2 homers in a World Series game, Mickey Mantle for the Yankees in the 1960 World Series. 4 runs batted in for Yastrzemski. Just the kind of heroics that he has been pulling off for the Red Sox since the opening week of the season. An almost unbelievable season he's had. The 2-1 pitch. Scott going after a bad one. 2-2. There's still nobody out. There's nobody on. It is now 5 runs, 6 hits for the Red Sox. No runs, no hits for the Cardinals. Well, I watched Yastrzemski break in as a kid. And watched him over the years, where 20 home runs was his high. And then to see him come up with 44 this year and 2 already in the World Series. Foul ball back. You never know about a ball player. Now, one season, he can double his previous output. Scott has struck out, single, and walked. The count is 3-2. The Twins brought Jim Merritt in, a left-hander Sunday, to pitch to Yastrzemski and hit a home run off him. There's a smash in the deep left center. That ball is caught by Brock right up against the fence. That's the first out in the last half of 7th. And Reggie Smith coming up is fouled out, flied out, a walk. One out, nobody on. 5-0 Red Sox. The strike. Smith now is batting right against a left-hander, and you saw him with his stance hitting left-handed. A closed stance, and now notice his stance hitting right-handed, an open stance. Foul ball back. Most of all the switch hitters in the history of baseball have different stances from each side of the plate. Now notice that front foot of his is away from the plate. That's an open stance. And it's just the opposite when he bats left-handed. The 2-strike pitch to him. A ball, 1-2. He has hit for a better average as a right-hander than he has a left-hander. A high fly to right field. Maris and Flood chasing it. And it's Roger Maris out there in front of the Red Sox bullpen for the grab. 2 down. Jerry Adair coming up, fly to left. He had an infield hit, reached to the air. He's 1 out of 3. The 3 runs this inning, 2 of the runs were charged to Ron Willis. Yastrzemski's run, the home run, is charged to Joe Horner. Foul back. 0-1 to Jerry Adair. 3 runs across for the Red Sox in the 7th. They have 2 down, nobody on. That one's twisting toward the stands. Out of play. Nothing in 2 to Adair. That's Baselli on deck.
You know, Curt, I can't help but think that all of this is helping Jim Lonborg, because the heat does sometimes bother him a little bit, but the last 2 innings he's been able to get a long rest between, because the Red Sox have been up a lot.
Yes, it has cooled off a bit, Ken, with this wind coming in. Foul ball back. I think it's about 5 or 10 degrees cooler now than it was a half hour ago.
I don't mean to imply that Lonborg did not pitch well in warm weather this year, because anybody who wins 22 has to pitch well in all kinds of weather. But he appears most of the time to have a little more strength when it is a little bit on the cool side.
The 2-strike pitch is a ball, 1-2 to Jerry Adair.
And I bring this up, Curt, because more and more Mr. Lonborg is becoming the story of this ball game.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Line shot out to Curt Flood. He has to play it on a hop. Played it safe. That's the 3rd hit this inning for the Red Sox. The second hit for Adair in the game, who continues to do quite a job for the Red Sox, and Rico Petrocelli's up. Rico a single to left, struck out, and had a sacrifice fly to knock in a run in the sixth. 1 out of 2 officially. And he's played quite a game in the field behind Lonborg today. He and Adair around the bag. A ball. Red Sox leading 5-0 in the last of the 7th. One and one to Rico Petrocelli. Adair at first, 2 away. Carver bluffed to throw to first, to count 2-1. Elston Howard on deck. Another walk. Red Sox now have had 5 base runners this inning. Billy Muffet is coming out again, the pitching coach of the Cardinals. Now they call him back. Red Schoendienst says something to him. Wants a right-hander. Maybe Jack LeMahieu, who used to pitch here with the Red Sox. Went on to Chicago, the Mets. Field, Massachusetts. Started the year with the White Sox, went to the Mets and the Cardinals. Combined record this year, 3 wins, 7 losses in the majors. Lots of runners on first and second for the Red Sox in the last of the 7th. And Lonborg now has had a long sit in that dugout. We'll see how it affects him when he comes out for the 8th inning. Sometimes a long wait like this can bother a pitcher, other times no. A strike to Howard. He was flying out, wrapped into a force play and walked. There are the runners. Adair at second, Petrocelli at first. They've had a light sprinkle here of the last inning and a half. The infield dirt's a little damp, and maybe that grass in the infield and outfield will be slightly treacherous with the underfooting. 1 ball, 1 strike. Be Gary Bell pitching for the Red Sox in St. Louis Saturday against Nelson Bryant. Foul back, 1-2. In fact, Dick Williams announced today that his rotation will be a 3-man rotation. Santiago, Lonborg, and Bell. Those will be his 3 starters. Now, whether Gibson comes back on Sunday, we won't know. Could be Carl or Gibson. The 1-2 pitch. Breaking ball that didn't act for him. The count 2-2. Red Sox have received 6 walks in this game. 2-2 pitch. Howard hits a foul, just foul outside the bag at first.
You know, Kurt, Elston Howard provided one of the most dramatic moments of the 1967 season for the Red Sox when he was with the Yankees in the opening game at Yankee Stadium in New York. Billy Rohr went to 3-2 and 2 out in the 9th inning, and Elston lined a single into right center field to break up a no-hit bid by the Boston rookie.
2-2. Elston can never understand it. They booed him for it. He said, that's what I'm supposed to do, get ahead. Strike 3, and the Cardinals finally get the Red Sox out in the 7th. But the Red Sox had 3 runs. On 3 hits, the big one, Yastrzemski's 3-run homer. There were no errors and 2 men left. Into the 7th inning, it's the Red Sox 5 and the Cardinals broken. 200 million listeners to you, Ken. From Bangkok to Berlin, and then Vietnam to our troops over there.
Well, it'll be a great thrill, Kurt, as all of this has been for the year, really.
Tim McCarver grounded out and flying out. He'll lead off for the Cardinals in the 8th inning. Laying him a step or 2 toward right. Lonborg in a ball. Now we'll see how this long delay has affected Lonborg as he sat in the dugout. As 8 of his mates came up in the 7th, there were 2 pitching changes, and it was a long last half the 7th. And 1 base runner in the game for the Cardinals, Curt Flood, who walked in the 7th. Ground ball to second baseman Adair. There's 1 down. And now this crowd roaring every time Lonborg gets it out. His perfect game went by the boards, and that 3-2 pitch to Curt Flood, ball 4, just missed the strike zone. Just missed. Mike Shannon has struck out twice. Lonborg has struck out 4, walk 1.
He pitched the clinching game here on Sunday afternoon, Kurt, and then right after the game was over, he was in the clubhouse calling his family out in San Luis Obispo, California, talking with him. He said, I'll start Thursday, and what a start this has been.
There's a ball you could shoot a cannon off in the streets out there right now, I'll bet.
Wow.
Javier's on deck. 5-0 Red Sox. We're in the 8th inning. A 1-0 pitch. Shannon bounces it to Petrocelli. Takes his time, throws him out, puts him down. As Lonborg continues to mow him down. And we have Javier up now. He's grounded out and flied out. Maxville is on deck. You're getting down to the bottom of the Cardinal order. Shane East will start thinking about some pinch hitting. Two down in the 8th inning. There is the first base hit of the game off Jim Lonborg. Here's the throw in the second. Javier has a double. Jim Lonborg went 7 2/3 innings of a no-hitter. And the crowd gives him a hand now. Listen to it. Oh, he was rapping right on the door.
Kurt, he went into a game earlier this year in Cleveland, into the 7th inning, and Duke Sims had a hit off him. And, of course, he was, as he was today, I know, well aware of what the situation was. And this being his first World Series start, and I know how he must feel, but at least this is apt to take some of the pressure off of him at this point in the ball game. Tolan up now.
Bobby Tolan coming up to bat. There's been only 1 no-hitter ever pitched in the World Series. Don Larson's perfect game in '56. There have been 3 one-hitters. Ed Ruhlbach of the Cubs in 1906 against the White Sox. Claude Passeau of the Cubs against the Tigers in 1945. Floyd Bevins of the Yankees in '47 against the Dodgers. Ball 1. And incidentally, you all remember that famous one-hitter by Bevins. He lost the game 2-1. A brilliant prospect. Already he's made it, but a brilliant prospect for future greatness. Checks a swing, hits it to Dalton Jones. Jones nails him, and that's it. Cardinals are out, but Lonborg's no-hitter went by the board. In the 8th inning, no runs, 1 hit. There were no errors, 1 man left. A standing ovation for Lonborg as he goes into the dugout at the end of 8 1/2. For the Cardinals, Eddie Brosseau replacing Del Maxwell, who was lifted for a pinch hitter. Lonborg has struck out, flat out, and struck out. The Red Sox have 5 runs, 7 hits. St. Louis Cardinals, no runs, 1 hit. Eddie Brosseau, the new shortstop, used to play shortstop here with the Red Sox. Strike 1. LeMahieu is the 4th pitcher of the game for the Cardinals. Jose Tartabull on deck, and then Dalton Jones. Strike 2.
Curt, I'd just like to say NBC did a great job in covering this great race, but of course you and Sandy and Pee Wee have covered a great deal in the National League. It's the first time I've seen Barlick, and I really enjoy watching him behind that plate.
Foul back. 0-2.
He runs a ball game, doesn't he?
He certainly does. All these fellas, these men in blue in both leagues, deserve a lot of credit. Brings up an interesting point of view when they put the instant replay in. A lot of stories written and features on the radio and television. Strike 3 is out of there. That the instant replay would show the umpires up. I think the reruns have shown how good the umpires are.
Right.
Very, very few occasions you'll ever see that they're wrong. And it shows that with their training and experience and being right there in the instant judgment that they're usually right, and the instant replay just bears it out. Jose Tartabull's flying out, struck out, flying out, a walk. We're at the top of the Red Sox batting order. Well, yesterday it was Gibson and Brock for the Cardinals. Today it's Lonborg and Yastrzemski for the Red Sox. Lonborg's pitching, Yastrzemski's 2 home runs. Fans would like to see Tartabull or Jones get on. Pops it up, give Yastrzemski a shot at 3 home runs. Mike Shannon squeezes it, that's the second out. Now let's see if Jones can get on and give Yastrzemski a chance to get up there and have a shot at the 3rd home run. George Herman Ruth, the only man ever hit 3 home runs in a World Series game, and he did it twice. Dalton Jones has 1 hit in 4 times. There's the chance. Base hit to right. Yastrzemski will come up now. Listen to the hand for Yastrzemski. They shut him out yesterday. He took a half-hour batting practice after the game. He was dissatisfied with himself. But listen, anytime you face Bob Gibson, he shut a lot of them out. There's his 3rd hit of the ball game. Coming on the 3rd is Jones, and the Red Sox have runners on 1st and 3rd. 2 down. Yastrzemski's been on base 4 times. He homered in the 4th, he had a 3-run homer in the 7th, and a single down the 8th. George Scott has struck out, single, walked, and flied out. The Red Sox have had 9 hits, the Cardinals have had 1 hit. This is a love affair that the New England fans now have for their young team. And the Cardinals over the years feel that way about their Cardinals. We've had some of the most colorful players and teams in the history of baseball. Scott fouls it back. Cardinals have rebuilt time after time in the championships, and the Gashouse gang do. They're a great club of 42 and 46, and another 64, that era now Still a young veteran team they have, which should be tough to take to the National League for the next few years. Strike 2 to George Scott. Reggie Smith on deck. Jones is at third for the Red Sox. Yastrzemski at first, 2 away. Down there at first, it's interesting. 2 men side by side who are almost certain to be voted the most valuable players of their respective leagues. Yastrzemski and Cepeda. Ball 1. Maybe Yaz is saying, quite a year you had, Orlando, and Cepeda saying, well, buddy, you've had one too. Congratulations. One ball, 2 strikes. Bounder to Shannon. He'll have to hurry. His throw in time. He has a strong arm. Throws Scott out, and the Red Sox are retired in the 8th. They had no runs, 2 hits, there were no errors, and 2 left. Red Sox have left 7 the last 3 innings. At the end of 8, it's the Red Sox 5 and the Cardinals nothing. In the 9th inning, the game being played under a dark overcast with the lights on. Ricketts hit .273 this year. Considered the Cardinals' best pinch hitter. A ball to him. He was a basketball star at Duquesne University. He and his brother led Duquesne to the NIT championship one year. The 1-0 pitch. Ball 2. There's no action right now in the Red Sox bullpen, but there may be some stirring around if Lonborg loses this leadoff man. And the 2-0 pitch. 3-0. He's walked only 1 man. For late tuners in, Lonborg had a perfect game for 6 1/3 innings until he walked Flood in the 7th. He had a no-hitter for 7 2/3 innings until Javier doubled off him in the 8th. That's a strike. 3-1. After a high pitch and pops it up to Petroselli. 1 down in the 9th. Alan Roth, our statistician today, and our production stage manager, Jim O'Gorman. Lou Brock. On base 5 times in a row yesterday, hasn't reached today. But he stung the ball. He lined to short in the 1st. Brought by Adair. And a good play in the 4th, and then grounded out sharply in the 7th. Curt Flood on deck. We're at the top of the Cardinal batting order. He bounces it foul. Strike 1. Five to nothing Red Sox in the top of the 9th. One and 1 to Brock. Saturday afternoon, Nelson Briles will be pitching for the Cardinals. Gary Bell for the Red Sox. The 1-1 pitch. On the outside corner, strike 2, 1 and 2. He fired that pitch. They want to look at it. Jim Lonborg now with 1 out.
I'll probably be able to stay up all night. Jim, what about now? Will you be able to pitch, do you think, 3 ball games? This is looking far ahead, I know, but going into the 7th game, if it comes about, are you going to be able to pitch with 2 days rest? I really couldn't say, Tony. I tried it one time at the end of the season here. I thought I had pretty good stuff, but my arm's all right. I think I could do it. I imagine with the pressure of the pennant here and everything that I could probably come back and do it. Jim, you lost the no-hitter in the 8th inning when on the double by Javier. Now, what about on the bench? There are a lot of superstitions, of course, in press booths and everywhere else. What about on the bench? Were the players talking to you about it, or was it just a lot of silence?
It was mostly silence. I was talking to guys about it. I'd say, I'm going to try and get this one. I'm this close, but they never did come up and say anything to me because it is superstition, I guess.
When you walked the inning earlier, you walked someone, and of course you lost the perfect game right there, but you still had a chance for the no-hitter. And our congratulations to you, Jim Lonborg. A heck of a job. We appreciate you coming on with all the commotion around.
Thank you, Tony.
Thank you, Jim Lonborg. And now here's Curt Gowdy.
All right, thanks, Tony Kubek. Lonborg, Ken Coleman pitched only 2 shutouts during the season. He saved the big one here for the World Series.
He certainly did. And Curt, the interesting thing about it is that early in the season, Jim said that he had 3 ambitions in baseball. One was to win 20 games, which he has done. The other, which he did not expect when he made the comment, was to pitch in a World Series, which he has done. And he also hoped that he might someday pitch a no-hit game, and he came very, very close to doing it today. Now, if Bob Gibson is given the extra day, as Shane Dean said yesterday, Gibson and Lonborg will be matched in the 5th game. So the 2nd game of the series goes to Boston, 5-0 over St. Louis.
So on behalf of Ken Coleman, this is Curt Gowdy, hoping you enjoyed. You sat in on today, one of the most brilliantly pitched games in World Series history. And the 2nd game of the 1967 World Series was brought to you by Chrysler Corporation. Your host for today's game, Dodge, and your local Dodge dealer. By Gillette Right Guard. Don't leave your family defenseless. Keep an extra right guard on hand.